G'day, today I'm going to show you how to put flares on the new Gen Rangers 2022 onwards. I've done this side already. There's a few tools you need. Phillips clip remover tool is very handy. T25 and a 10mm. And a little screwdriver helps to dig out some of the pesky clips. First thing you want to do is, same as the PX2s, remove all the clips holding this middle flare off. This has all got to come off. Same thing for the rear. All the clips all down there, and then a 10mm underneath and there. Yeah. So there's two T25 torxes under the front and the back of these. The front flare. And there is two ways to pull this flare off. So either you can be really patient and pull this whole inner guard liner out, which is pointless unless you want to keep this old flare, and try release the clips from the inside, but it takes a lot of time, and I'll show you. Better off just to do that. You could always replace the clips after from Ford. They actually do sell them if you want to reuse it. The problem is, even if you do get in there, you can't really get into the inner guard anyway, so because it goes over top. So yeah. Now to rubber up the flares, you use this primer, which comes with most flares, and run along the edge where the double side tape's going to stick. These new gen flares only have double side tape on one side, so obviously the double side tape sits on the flare, and then the rubber bit just butts up against the guard. So you want to make sure it's been cut off flush, nice and straight, because otherwise it'll look all hoary. And just like the old PX2s and PX3 flares, you just tuck it over, keep making your way down. Leave a bit of a length hanging out. Keep tucking your way around. It's a bit fiddly, but you get used to it. Definitely easier than the flares with tape on both sides. And once you're happy with where it's sitting, you can start peeling the backing off the tape, and just make sure it sits in the right spot. So now you've got to fit all these plugs into the front 4 holes, and then these tabs go over top of the guard on all the steel ones. That top one there, and then the second one from the bottom on the rear, chuck them on too, over top of all of them, and you leave this rear piece on when you pull the flare off. Once all those clips are in, you get these screws, which are very flat, and hold guard with one hand, and then you have to force it in, and then so on the back here, you run a screw in the top one where you put the clip, and then another one there, and then the rest of the holes just run the black clips. And then the front, you've got to put a wee spacer in the bottom. between the screw. Sometimes the screws don't want to bite, and that's because you haven't got the screw square with the tab that we put in there. Same with these. So you've got to put a lot of pressure on the outside of the flare to square everything up, and then push it in. Yeah, as you can see, it's a bit bowed because they have a lot of pressure on them. That's for the back, it's the same thing. Just make sure everything's square. Put screws in to those top ones, and then a 10mm, but don't do it up all the way. Only do it up. There's a bit of a gap, so it's not going to come loose. In the back here, if you're running factory offset wheels, you can run these holes that are on the inside, and just put the one flip over top. But you just got to make sure you cut this tab off here with a craft knife. So that's your factory offset. But if you're going to run a bigger wheel, they look silly, so you have to space it out to the edge, and then just run some self-tapping screws, like what we've done on this one here. Yeah, so just self-tapping screws the whole way down, and obviously just line it up nice and straight. Make sure you cut that tab off the inside. Yeah, sweet.